Alright, so nagbabalik tayo sa ating violin tips and tricks. And for today's video, let's talk about our fingers on our bow hand. Ayan. Why do they move, no? Or why should they move? If they're not moving for you, what you can do to make them move, no? And how does this affect the way you play and the way you create sound? Okay? So, yan yung pag-uusapan natin on today's video. So, when you watch violinists over the internet or even maybe live if you've watched them before, you would always see, regardless of technique, that their fingers on the bow hand moves as well. No? It's not stuck in one stationary position na kapag gumagalaw yung kamay nila, ganun lang yung itsura ng kamay. No? They move, no? As you can see, when they move for a down bow, the fingers slightly curls up or curves down. And when they move to an up bow, the fingers sort of straighten out. No? Yun yung basic na movements na nakikita natin. And these movements, are they forced? Of course not. No? These movements are not forced. And they are not really, let's say, needed. But it happens, no? Because these movements ensure that our hands are one, not tensed, and number two, are in a relaxed position. Meaning, nakakagalaw sila freely. Okay? These are not forced movements. Of course, when you are starting out, maybe your teacher would want you to really look at what your fingers are going to do because it needs training then, no? Because when you start learning about bowing, our focus would always be on the arm movement because we want to make the bow move straight. And then, those minor details that come in, no, the finer things that come in with your fingers would now give you more control over your playing. Okay? So, I'll use my bowing for example. So, when I do a down bow, I would always try my best to curl my fingers down. Okay? This is for my down bow. Why is that? So, because again, we just want to be able to hit the string with our bow with enough pressure in a relaxed state. Kasi, if we go and hit it na naka-straight siya, all the tension or the pressure will be put here. Dito, no? Nato-transfer natin. In turn, magiging scratchy siya. That's one thing, no? That's why when we go for an up bow, we want to put the pressure there. That's why up, nagsistraighten up because we want to put the pressure here. Now, when we do a down bow, we want to sort of release that pressure kasi mabigat na tayo dito. We're starting at the heaviest part of the bow. So, when we do curve our fingers, saan pumupunta yung pressure? It's going to your pinky. It's actually just going down the bow instead of going up the bow, giving you so much unnecessary pressure. That's why when I do a down bow, kina-curve ko talaga yung fingers, no? So, this is how I would do it, no? And dahil nga nasa relaxed state tayo, when we reach the end, what ends up happening is that it just follows. Kasi malayo na yung kamay mo sa'yo, your fingers will naturally want to go at a safe position. Because again, not gonna talk about a lot on contact points, but your contact point should always remain the same whether you're right here or right here, no? So, hindi nagbabago yung contact points. That's why it naturally straightens out, no? So, again, we started with this, and as we go to the tip of the bow, my fingers are trying to straighten. But again, it's not fully straightened out, diba? Hindi pa siya fully straightened. Because I would be the one instructing them to straighten up more so that I could give enough pressure. So ako pa rin yung nasusunod, no? So naturally it moves, 'di ba? Kung mapapansin natin, when we went from a down bow, I started the motion of it to curl. And then right here it naturally wants to straighten. But I still am the one directing my fingers to finally fully straighten, no? Or fully implement that weight or pressure so that I can do my up bow. Now, when I'm going for another down bow, it will naturally curl. Bakit ulit siya mag-naturally curl? Because our hand or fingers are relaxed and we're reaching a point wherein our hand is close enough to our fingers. I mean, our arm is close enough to the fingers. Kaya hindi na tayo kailangan mag-stretch. No? We stretch because it's far away from us. That's natural. And again, we curl because it's close to us. So it's not really just parang force technique, but it's working on what's happening naturally within us, 'di ba? So if you can control that, no, syempre you always want to start, but it naturally happens, 'di ba? So this is how it would look without the bow. So when I do a down bow, yung curved fingers ko, I would do it like that, but it would naturally straighten kasi napapalayo na ako, 'di ba? So the muscles are trying to remain at a certain point or position, pero napapalayo na. That's why it straightens out. And then if I want to fully go for an up bow, I would instruct my fingers to do it. So ganun yung nangyayari. Now, this doesn't just affect my bowing technique, no? It actually happens even for other types of schools of bowing, diba? You could watch videos on YouTube na makikita natin how even the older people, this is not something new, no? Maybe hindi lang natin nabibigyan ng ganung focus, but it actually is something that's very, very natural. I forgot which book was that or what anecdote was that about Paganini's bowing, that his fingers that was like a handkerchief flowing through the air. So ganun yung hands niya kalambot. And again, it's natural because again, if you are in a relaxed state, your hands are in a relaxed state, they won't lock. No, hindi siya magla-lock para hindi gumalaw. Kasi the less, dito papasok yung kabaliktaran na pinag-uusapan natin, no? We don't want it to be stiff. So the less movement that you have with it, the less mobile you become, the less control you have. No? Kasi magiging stiff. Once na nag-lock in yan, you have less things that you can do with it. That's why we always want it to be flowing and free, but at the same time, very firm. Firm enough for it to hold its own. What does that mean? Na hindi mahuhulog yung bow natin. Even though we are at a relaxed position, we still have control over the bow. So how can you do this? No? So basic practice that I would suggest is just keep your bow there, and try to move down, try to move up, just in your starting position, no? Without moving the bow. So you have to keep that that bite or that contact and be able to move it freely, so that when you want to move it, may gagalaw mo siya with the adequate force that you need it to have. So you can do it here, you can do it here, but it's going to be harder to do a downstroke here kasi nga naturally naka-up na talaga yung kamay. Okay? So you wanna do it here. And then you could also do it without your violin, no? Kahit sa bow lang, even a stick or a pencil, hold it with your left hand, practice doing a down, doing an up, down, and up, no? Until maging natural na siya. And then again, these are just starters, no? Panimula lang sila. You don't have to really be talagang pinipilit mo na idadakambao mo siya hanggang sa dulo, no? If it doesn't work for you, no? It will not work for everyone, but just starting it out, no? Feeling where it goes, no? Now, I'm not saying na hindi mo dapat bigyan ng force because some people actually do it quite well na ganito naman yung nangyari. They let go, no? You don't want to change your fingers position while you're doing a certain stroke. So if you are doing a down bow, you want to continue to do a down bow. See where my hand actually changed? It's almost half of the bow. Kasi yung iba, ang nangyayari, they just do a downstroke or a finger would, your fingers would curve, pero once na na-release na, neutral position na agad. So nawawala na agad yung kapit because we want to be able to pull that bow into that direction. Again, your fingers are not doing the pulling. They are just doing the initial start and your arms will be the one pulling. No? So, when you try it out, make sure hindi babalik agad sa neutral. Kasi yung iba ganito yung nangyari. I'm gonna do it front view. Gumagana. Down. Tapos babalik na ulit. Wala na. Wala na yung force na kailangan nila. So, you have to do it down bow. And then, when you do an up bow, the same thing. It shouldn't be tapos pa down na mo. Wala yung kapit. So, again, don't rely on just the looks of it. You have to feel it, no? Because again, not everyone has the same wingspan. Not everyone has the same length of fingers or, girth of their fingers. Magkakaiba tayo ng laki ng daliri, ng haba. So, you have to find that sweet spot for you. And if it works for you, it would be great for your technique. So, mas makokontrol mo yung bow, the amount of pressure you could really give would show major improvements. Plus, your sound would be much more dense. Mas makapal yung mapapalabas mong tunog. Because that will also help with the contact. No, hindi agad siya mawawala ng contact on the string. Ayan. So, try it out. See if it works for you, and if it does, drop a like and comment down below more content you'd like to see. If you have any other questions regarding other techniques or this technique, just comment down below, and of course subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on all my socials. My course on Udemy is still available. Check out my sheet music arrangements on Sheet Music Plus, and everything you need is down in the description box below. I hope you learned something new. This has been Ryan Monakil for Violin Tips and Tricks, and I will see you on the next